The AFC North was a little bit of a roller coaster during the 2020 season. Now, what do these teams do in the offseason? Hey guys, Dick's Report here, back to you with another video, and this time we're talking about the AFC North and what these teams need to do in the offseason. Let's jump right in with the Baltimore Ravens. Alright, and with the Ravens, Lamar Jackson got his first playoff win as an NFL quarterback last year, beating the Titans of all teams. Nice job by the Ravens and Lamar. Now, what can they do during the offseason to make themselves a better team and possibly get even further in the playoffs next year? Well, it can all start by getting a big receiver. People have been talking about how the Ravens need a number one receiver, but I'm not seeing that. I think Hollywood Brown can fill that role of a number one, but he can't do it by himself. He's only 5'9". He needs a big receiver to take some pressure off him so he's not getting double teamed every single game. Now, Miles Boykin is 6'4", but I'm just not seeing a starting receiver in him. In fact, I'm getting a little frustrated by him because there are times when I feel like he doesn't act like he's 6'4". So a big receiver could be just what the Ravens need to take the passing game to the next level. They also need help on the interior of their offensive line. They've got to get a center. They need a leader on that offensive line. It is really lacking a quality center, and they haven't really replaced Marshaganda when he retired during the offseason last year, so do expect them to maybe get another guard. And they also need help at edge rusher. They have 4 guys that are free agents as an edge rusher. That's not good. The Ravens live off of getting to the quarterback, and with 4 guys as free agents, that's not going to help their cause. And their top guy is one of them in Matt Judon. Matt Judon has been a really good player for the Ravens, but I just don't see him coming back to the team because I think he's going to price himself out of free agency, and the Ravens have $18 million in cap space. They can't put all of that to one player, so I think Matt Judon moves on. And as far as their first round pick, they're picking 27th overall. Now with the Ravens, they have been known to trade down if they don't think there's a player they're worth taking. So if somebody falls to them, they're going to take him. But if they don't see anybody there, they are going to trade down. They've done that for years. So with them, anything goes as far as trading down. In Cincinnati, Joe Burrow had a very good rookie season until he tore his ACL. Now the Bengals need to be focused on protecting him, and that starts with their offensive line. They've got to build that offensive line. They have gotten some players there, but they need more. They've got to be able to protect Burrow so that he doesn't get hurt every single year. They also need to rebuild their defensive line. A lot of the guys on the defensive line are either free agents or getting up there in age. They've got to start rebuilding that defensive line. And at the cornerback position, William Jackson's a free agent, and even if they do bring him back, they still need help at that position. The Bengals need to start building this team up during the offseason. They have got to start doing that. And they have $37 million, so they can make a few moves to start getting there. It's not going to be enough for them to get back to the playoffs, but it can be there in the right direction. They also have the 5th overall pick. So if they make the right moves, they can start building this team to where they can be competitive again. And as for their top free agent, it's A.J. Green. A.J. Green has been a great receiver for them since they drafted him 4th overall in the 2011 draft. But his time with the Bengals has come to an end. I just don't see them bringing him back. He's 33 right now. I just don't see him coming back to the Bengals. The Browns have finally completed a rebuild since, well, they came back into the league. They finally have themselves a quarterback in Baker Mayfield. They got back to the playoffs for the first time since 2002, and they got their first playoff win since the 95 season. Keep this in mind. I was born in 1996, so throughout my entire life, I had never seen the Browns win a playoff game until this year. That is completely crazy. The Browns have built their team to where they can be competitive and they can win playoff games. Great job by the Browns, who not too long ago went 0-16. Now, can they take that next step and make an even deeper playoff run? Maybe finally get to the Super Bowl? Well, it's all going to start by getting pieces across from both Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward's been a great cornerback for the Cleveland Browns. Now they got to get somebody across from him to help out. And Myles Garrett is the only pass rusher coming back that had at least 5 sacks last year. And Olivia Vernon is a free agent, and I just don't see the Browns bringing him back because he's in his 30s, and he's coming off a major injury. So the Browns need pieces across from both Ward and Garrett. And they need help at the linebacker position. They've got to make sure that's shored up as well. They have $20 million in cap space, so they can make a few moves, and they're picking 26 overall. So anything will go there. they can either trade up if they think that there's a player that they absolutely have to have, or they could trade down if they don't see a player worth taking there. Anything goes for a team that is picking towards the bottom of the first round. They can either trade up or trade down. You never know what's going to happen. Pittsburgh was off to a strong start during the season. They were the only undefeated team left, but they finished poorly, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Cleveland Browns, gave them their first playoff win since '95. Now the Steelers have even bigger problems because they are over the cap by almost $20 million. They got to be able to move some pieces around, or else they're not going to be able to do anything in free agency, which is big for them because Bud Dupree's a free agent, Juju Smith-Schuster is a free agent, James Conner's a free agent, and Alejandro Villanueva, their left tackle's a free agent. They have a lot of free agents this year. They got to figure out if they're going to be able to bring anybody back. In terms of their needs, offensive tackle is a big need, with Villanova being a free agent, and also they need help at the right tackle position. So both tackle positions are big needs in free agency. Need help at the inside linebacker position because Devin Bush tore his ACL in the 2020 season, and his backup got hurt later down the line. They got to make sure they have a foundation on that inside linebacker spot, and they need to figure out what they're going to do at the running back position because James Conner is a free agent, and I don't know if they have that starting caliber running back on their team right now. I don't know if they do. Their top free agent is Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree has been a big part of that Steeler defense ever since they drafted him. However, he's going to want a big payday, and with the Steelers being over the cap, I don't know if that's going to come from the Steelers. I think he might leave in free agency because the Steelers just can't pay him. And they're in the same position as both the Browns and the Ravens. They're picking 24th overall. So again, anything goes there. They can either trade up or trade down. It all depends what they want to do. Alright guys, that was the AFC North. Next up is the NFC North, and I'll see you next time.